Arizona will be a battleground state in the fight for control of the U.S. House as Jonathan Nez challenges Congressman Eli Crane in District 2. We'll talk with him. It was a tough week to be an incumbent nationwide and here in the Valley, with new faces coming to the Tempe City Council. And a former sheriff now running for Congress, facing allegations that he sent nude photos to women and threatened to have one charged with a felony. That's all ahead on Politics Unplugged. And good evening, I'm Colton Shone. Dennis Welch is off this week. This is Politics Unplugged. Jonathan Nez is the former president of the Navajo Nation, and he got his sights now set on Washington. He is challenging Congressman Eli Crane in District 2, and he joins us now to talk about the race. First off, thank you so much for being here. We're both Navajo here, so
thank you, Colton.
So talk about your reasons why you're switching from the Navajo Nation to national politics.
Well, I believe that this state and our congressional district has not been represented very well throughout these few years, and we hear that all the time. And with the politics that's happening in Washington, D.C., I think there is a need to put folks in there that have common sense solutions to the problems that are affecting each and every one of us. We got high prices of fuel, we have high prices of goods and services, and you can see the prices increasing in healthcare, childcare, gosh, pretty much all across the board. And we have yet to see our congressman up in northern part of Arizona. And I think he's so disconnected with the problems and the issues that are affecting each and every one of us up north. And I know that, bless his heart, Congressman Crane has been working there in Washington, D.C., but only surrounding himself by folks that only support him. But when you're a leader, just like I was on the Navajo Nation, you have to work for everybody, and even those that voted against you. And I am going to be everyone's congressman up north and in this congressional district.
When it comes to this race, this is round 2. You went up against him previously. Obviously, he was the one who secured that seat. What is different this time around? And also, what made you decide to jump back into this all over again? Politics is another kind of crazy. Absolutely.
I appreciate the folks up north wanting us to come home and help out once again on the Navajo Nation. But I'm not a quitter. Of course, we got defeated the last cycle, but there's just a whole different political atmosphere right now, not just here in this district or in the state, but all across the country. We are seeing folks that are frustrated. I go from place to place in this district, from the northeastern part of Arizona. I was just in Tisnuzbas and also in Red Mesa to do an 8th grade promotion commencement. And people are just frustrated of what's going on in Congress. And what's happening in Congress is the Republicans and Democrats, and even the independents, they're not working together. I come from a Republican home. I know my mom used to say it was great to see the Republican Party and the Democratic Party work together. But that has changed today. And both parties are to blame about what's happening. And maybe just a different perspective, being in Congress, could bring value to some of these issues that are, that are affecting everyday life in this country and in the state.
What are some of the issues you feel that the congressman is ignoring right now that you feel like needs to be addressed, especially when it comes to the players in D.C.?
Absolutely. Well, one thing that has come up a lot throughout my visits in this district, from the northeastern part of Arizona to Prescott Valley, all the way to the city of Maricopa, to Globe, all the way to Superior, is water security. We're not really elevating that discussion, and my opponent has yet to be at the table to get us our fair share of the Colorado River, for instance, or even protecting our precious groundwater. You know, I have had experience in bringing water rights settlements to the forefront, being the Navajo Nation president, you know, in New Mexico, helping out with the Gallup Navajo water rights settlement, Navajo Utah water rights settlement, getting that across the line, the finish line, and also as a bipartisan, you know, work with our congressional delegation and our senators and congressmen. And yet today we don't see that happening. And water is precious, you know that. Water is life, to'e'ina, right, as we say up north. And we see the lowering of the water table there at the Glen Canyon Dam. We have yet to see it at that level since it was rising. And you see the same thing happening in Hoover Dam. And that is the lifeline for the Southwest. That's where we get most of our crops, using that little Colorado River water to produce fruits and vegetables up in southern Arizona and southern California. And if it were to be a dead pool up in these dams, there's going to be no water going through the Grand Canyon, no water coming into these canals that we are used to seeing when we cross over the waters in Phoenix proper. And if that's going to go away, then, you know, with the increase in population, where are we going to get our water for the future of the state?
Yeah, really great questions. We know CD2 encompasses the largest landmass in Arizona when it comes to congressional districts. 14 of the 22 tribes here in Arizona are located in that space. Do you feel like they're getting their fair share of being recognized in terms of resources and funding when it comes to allocations from Congress?
Right. You know, we went through a very difficult time just a few years ago with the pandemic. And, you know, there was historic amounts of dollars that went into tribal communities to help post-COVID. And, you know, I was there as the president of the Navajo Nation to get our fair share of resources into our communities. As you know, Colton, we brought over maybe over $3 billion onto the Navajo Nation. Right now, we know that 30 to 40% of our Navajo people don't have running water, but that's changing because of those dollars that came in. And I fought hard for the constituency then, and I'm going to fight even harder for Arizona too, to get our fair share of water, to get our fair share of infrastructure dollars, because there's a lot of growth happening in these communities, and we got to prepare. You know, we got to increase the water line pipes in the area, and then we also need to have better wastewater treatment facilities. We got to expand the transportation corridors in the state. I understand that we all are fiscal conservatives when it comes to balancing the budget and not putting debt on our children, our grandchildren, but we pay taxes, and we should be getting some of those tax dollars back into our community so that we can improve the quality of life for our children, our grandchildren, and as we say, 7 generations and beyond.
With less than a couple minutes left, you know, the concerns obviously up there in the high country with those tribal communities, you know very well. This district also encompasses parts of Maricopa County, Yavapai County, and how do you speak to their concerns, especially areas that are deeply red, or maybe the independents who live there?
Well, Colton, we were promised, everyone was promised, America first, right? America first. And we put these folks that campaigned on that in Washington, D.C. right now. But let me ask the people of this great state, or even this country, do you feel like America is first? And I think supermajority of them are going to say no, because of the high cost of gas, the high increase in health care, child care, elder care. Oh gosh, just seeing that the billionaires and the multinational corporations are getting record profits now off of the backs of hardworking Americans, hardworking Arizonans. That needs to change. And guess what? Congress needs a fighter, and I will be fighting, because I do have a track record of fighting for my constituents and making sure that our voice is heard from rural and tribal communities up there in Washington, D.C. In Colton, they have yet to hear a voice like mine.
All right, Mr. Nez, former president of the Navajo Nation, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. All right, still ahead, I'll bring in our panel to talk about this week's headlines, with voters tossing out some incumbents in primary races. when Politics Unplugged continues. A bad week for incumbents and allegations of sexual misbehavior by a candidate for Congress. This is your political roundup. Unofficial results from the Tempe City Council race show 2 newcomers winning office and 2 incumbents ousted. The early winners are Brooke St. George, a Tempe native who has served as a city council assistant, and Bobby Nichols, a self-described Democratic Socialist who picked up an endorsement from Bernie Sanders just days before the election. President Trump is celebrating a string of primary wins of candidates he backed in Tuesday's primary elections. In Kentucky, President Trump's hand-picked challenger, former Navy SEAL Ed Galrine, defeated Congressman Thomas Massie. Massie has criticized the president on the war with Iran and the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Democrats need to gain 3 seats in the fall to take control of the closely divided U.S. House. The Arizona Republic published a lengthy article this week detailing allegations that former Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb sent explicit messages and nude photos to women. And in one case, a woman says Lamb threatened her with a felony charge if she posted about their alleged relationship online. Lamb is running for Congress in the 5th District and is endorsed by President Trump. Are we close to having a state budget deal? State Senator TJ Shope thinks so. He told a group in Casa Grande that the 2 sides are negotiating, and he's hopeful a deal will be in place within days and be finalized next week. And a big question, will that budget contain anything for the flood victims in Globe in Miami? Nearly 200 people were forced from their homes by the flooding last September, but the federal government rejected requests for aid. City leaders are asking for $20 million from the states, but legislators are looking to make cuts, so money may be hard to come by. And that's this week's Political Roundup. All right, let's bring in the panel to break down all of that for us. Republican consultant Marcus Dell'Artino and independent consultant Chuck Coughlin. Thank you both so much for being here. Appreciate your guys' time. So let's talk about this wave that we're seeing here with Democratic Socialists. We know that Tempe City Council had just had their city council seats up for grabs. One of the candidates who was endorsed by the Democratic Socialist Party, we're seeing that he is going to get that seat. Zoran Mamdani, New York City, one of the prime examples of this happening. Is this a thing that we're seeing? Let's start off with you.
Well, let's think. Tempe. Yeah. Tempe is Maricopa County's most progressive city, and so you would expect this. You would expect if this is going to happen anywhere, it would happen there. Home to Arizona State University, university population, kids, and so there's a foothold, and it's a sign that the electorate is, particularly the progressive part of the electorate, is amplified and very excited about this. They defeated 2 incumbents, and there had been some pushback on those incumbents over the ordinances, on the park ordinances, they have a sales tax thing on the ballot now, and so it's not been like smooth sailing in Tempe, so it's not altogether unanticipated, but it's shocking when 2 incumbents go down.
We're seeing more people saying the Democratic Party doesn't really define me anymore. So some people are looking into these other factions of it. Are we seeing that? We saw that in Tempe with this specific case, but broad scale.
Well, I think we've seen it a little bit in Pima County and Tucson, certainly. And to Chuck's point, I mean, it's the People's Republic of Tempe. I mean, I don't think we should be shocked. Bernie Sanders endorsed in this campaign. The amount of money that was spent was mind-boggling. And, at one point, God, I got accused of doing an IE in that city. And I was like, I don't even know who's running. I could care so little about this. So let's get that clarified. Everybody sort of lost their minds, if you will, in this race. But look, I think yes, it's a sign that the progressive movement is going to the socialistic route, but also it's a sign of discontent in the electorate. And because the next story we're going to talk about is Republican incumbents, but it seems to be a push that people are certainly not happy with the incumbents.
There's an acknowledgement, I think, universally that the starting point for equality in this country is no longer equal. Like, some people are running 120-yard races, some people are running 100-yard races, some people are running 30-yard races, and that equal opportunity is not available to everybody. Now, that gets translated into socialism, but it really is an American value that we have about equality, that our founding document speaks to this. And if the Democrats could fine-tune that message, I think they would do a lot better than talking about affordability and talking about some of these things that are going to be their problems here in about 6 or 8 months. And if they could fine-tune that message about the starting point for everybody in our society needs to be equal, and we need to give everybody an equal opportunity of success. But they're not doing that. They're hitting the tax the rich button, tax this button, and so there's still room there for the Republicans to reach back and whack them on that.
Yeah. All right. Really quickly about the Republicans, we talked about some of the incumbents who have spoken out against Trump, many of them who voted against his interests, didn't do so well in the primaries. Does that spell anything for them going forward in terms of like GOPs when, we go back to the midterms this year?
I think, I've said this on the show before, so I can't get away from it. But look, it's Trump's party. There's no shocker here that his candidate who was endorsed. Now, I tell you what was a brain burner here is they spent $32 million against Massey. $32 million to pop him in a primary was sort of mind blistering. And at this rate, I'm not too sure who's got money left going into the general. But Republicans got to focus on the general. They got to focus on making zero mistakes. They just don't have that luxury in this campaign.
And does the GOP just fall in line with Trump then, if this is anything that says?
Well, usually in good, healthy politics, the idea is to grow the party. He's not doing that. He's shrinking the party. He's having these internal wars, and he's shrinking the party because he does not brook any dissent. And so that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign for them going into the general election that we're shrinking the Republican Party. As you can see in these primary elections where there's 25, 30% of Republican voters going, I'm not with you anymore. Couple that with 90% of Democratic voters and 80% of independent voters, that doesn't feel good going into a general election. And so it's a challenge, as we saw in the Senate, in the U.S. Senate the other day when they had massive pushback on his personal slush fund, that kind of that tolerance for that is about at its breaking point.
All right. Okay. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, former Sheriff Mark Lamb running for Congress. Will an investigation into his behavior with women derail that? That's coming up next on Politics Unplugged. Welcome back to Politics Unplugged. Now bringing back our panel. We've got Marcus Dell'Artino to the left of me, Chuck Coughlin here as well. All right, so this is one other story that's been taking up a lot of conversation, especially in the political spheres. We've got Sheriff Mark Lamb, who's running for Congress, and there's quite the scandal that has been reported on him, allegedly sending messages, inappropriate photos, allegedly threatening people to stay silent and not releasing these. With this out and about right now, how does his race survive this? Is he politically? Is this going to be something that he is going to get passed? I mean, he does have the president's approval of his endorsement. Marcus, what do you think?
Listen, there's a lot of detail in this story.
There really is.
Undoubtedly. And so, but I would say this. Look, Republicans hold a 350,000 voter edge. Look, is he going to make it through the primary? Probably. Can he survive the general? I don't know. Clearly, there's an inference that the LDS Church was involved in this, and they don't really love making the paper, is the best way I can put it. So I think there's going to be some pushback in that community. But I would tell the people of Pinal County, for God's sakes, there's something in the water out there. We went through this with your former sheriff before this guy. Now we have this former sheriff. It must be a requirement to be former sheriff that you have to be involved in some sort of sexual allegation here.
Wow.
So there's some Republican opponents, one with money. There's I can't think of the name now, but he has resources. He's an articulate guy. Travis Grantham, former state legislator from Gilbert, National Guard pilot, family man, good guy. There's credible candidates there. The question is, can they mount a campaign? Can they secure enough funding to use this story to undermine his electability? Marcus is entirely correct. Absolutely, probably not going to be a Democrat because the district's so safe on the Republican side. So the question is, can he survive the Republican primary? And most thoughtfully, he just brought up, how does the church respond to this? Are they public in their response? if that happens, if the church does go public on the response, I got to think that those other two candidates, Travis is a member of the LDS church, I got to think that there's a possibility he ends up losing the primary.
I would also add this, I'm sure Chuck will agree with me, as a cautionary tale. These secrets or this story, this rumor has been out there forever. This isn't anything new to people who are in the business, in the sphere, right? But to think that this stuff isn't eventually going to come out, I just want to caution everybody who's running for office. If you think it's going to stay a secret, it isn't.
Not going to stay a secret. Yeah, that's the rule in our campaign life is when we sit down with a candidate, we get them to sit down and we say, tell me everything, because it's going to come out. And you know, inevitably, most candidates don't tell you everything, and so it's a surprise show throughout the campaign.
That's why the important opposition research is on your own candidate, not the other guy.
Oh my goodness, yeah. All right, saves me from ever wanting to venture into politics or anything like that.
Yes.
But we've seen the president. He's given seals of endorsement. He's taken back seals of endorsement. He's endorsed two people in the same race. What do you think the president will speak out about this?
I gotta think. I mean, there's going to be some. We're going to let this resonate.
Yeah.
Early ballots drop in early July, or maybe end of June, and so we'll see some polling, and that polling will register with him. If he sees there's a problem, he's like every politician. He does not want to endorse a loser, and so if he sees him going underwater, I definitely think that he could see a switch or a double endorsement. We have lots of good candidates running in this district.
Yeah, but as you guys mentioned, it is a solidly red district, so that's probably not going to change.
No, it's, I mean, the voter edge is the voter edge. The only question up in the air for every race in Arizona across the board is, do the independents finally decide to show up in a general election? And do the Democrats overperform in this election? And do the Republicans underperform? And that's what everybody is struggling with to figure out right now. It's too early to tell.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, my bad joke.
Yeah.
The bad joke yesterday was, did Jay Feely pull out too early? That was a little too colorful. Jay was now running in District 1. He was in District 5. And he's probably thinking right now, oh man, if I just stayed,
Would it be too late for him to switch?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's submitting signature, got your signatures in, and so you can't pull the trigger on that, second time. So.
Yeah. Well, a minute left, you guys, coming up on Memorial Day holiday weekend. Any plans?
Oh, I get to host a pool party at my house, which I got informed about 5 minutes ago. So Daddy's headed to the grocery store.
Right. See you at Costco. What about you?
I have a graduation party to go to tomorrow on Saturday. After that graduation party, we're loading the dogs up, heading down to Bisbee. We have a home in Bisbee, and we're going to hang out for the entire week down in Bisbee since Monday's my birthday. So we get to celebrate. Yes, Marcus is aware. He's given me gifts before. And so we'll have a nice time, very peaceful, read some books and sit out on the patio and enjoy the weather.
All right. Awesome. Thanks so much, you two, for being here.
Thanks, Paul.
That's all we have for Politics Unplugged today. But join us next week for even more Politics Unplugged with Dennis Welch.